You like the idea of marriage, but you are not in love with the person that you marry, or you don't like the person that you marry. But the idea of marriage is something that you fell in love with, and you felt compelled to get married. What a contrast. Well, this is not the far-fetched scenario. There's a lot of people in their marriages whereby they have lost interest in their partner. They don't like their partner anymore. The idea that they had in mind regarding marriage has changed, and it is not what they found or what they were hoping to live to. Okay. So what happens when people get together? Okay, people get together, and they fall in love, and they fantasize about marriage. What marriage is like. They may have seen a perfect couple in the movies, a perfect couple, the Romeo and the Juliet of this world. Maybe their auntie has or had the perfect marriage, or their parent had a perfect marriage, and they wanted to be in similar relationship. They wanted to give it a go because of an idea of marriage they had in mind. But to their rude awakening, they were met with resistance, whereby, life said, you know what? You may have been exposed to great marriages, but I don't think you're ready for this one, because the person you marry is different. So they are stuck in marriages whereby they are no longer in love with their wives or their husband, and they don't have a way out. They don't want to get a divorce because they want to keep it aside. You ever hear a married woman, a married man saying that, well, I don't love my husband or I don't love my wife anymore. But I'm like, why are you in there? Because when you fall out of love, then you should make a change. You shouldn't stay in your marriage because of your kid. That excuse is not valid. I don't rock with that. Okay, so you like the idea of marriage, but you are not in love with the person you're married to. You don't like the person you're married to. Then why did you get married? I feel as if I'm barking at the wrong tree here. The why shouldn't be the problem. The problem here should be, why are you staying married? Sorry. You got married with the idea of having a perfect relationship, a perfect marriage. I get it. You made the mistake. Now that you're married and you found out the hard way that life is not always rose, life is not always sweet, or the grass is not always greener on the other side of the aisle, of the fence, okay? Now that you know, why are you staying in it? Why stay in that? Because I hear couples saying that, well, that get divorced. It's after their divorce that you hear their horror stories, apparently. I mean, everybody have a horror story after a divorce. It is just normal, because when relationship goes south, people don't have a lot of good things to say about it. So I should assume that it is a normal practice, okay? So therefore, when these horror stories come to light, what I often hear, like a repetitive theme, is that I fell out of love with him years ago, not just now. Or he may say, well, I had no spark for her, but I was just in it for the kid. The man may say that, for so many years ago, I just thought this is a stable life, so I should stay in it. I'm like, this is not necessary. This is unnecessary. I'd rather you get judged by everyone or by others than to stay in an unhappy, unfulfilling, draining marriage. Because what people don't realize is that the status that you're trying to keep, that status, the process of wanting to keep an unhappy marriage can render you sick. That's how people are not living long anymore. People in stressful marriages, you can end up sick, and sickness can come from stressors. Okay, you may be stressed, constant stress. Your body's not getting enough rest because you're thinking of the condition you're in, your sexless marriages, the rejection from your partner. You're feeling less than. No one respects you. You're not being heard. You feel as if they're not affectionate with you. You feel abandoned. You are guilt trip. Okay, you're regretful and you don't know what to do. You are stuck in something that is no longer conducive, no longer beneficial for you. But because you have few children, you want to stay there to save this so-called, and I quote, marriage of yours. So you like the idea of marriage, but you don't like the person you are with, or the person that you are with doesn't like you. But you have to stay in there. Who said you have to stay in it? Who said you don't get married to get a divorce? That is their famous line. You know what, Rose? Why get married just to get a divorce? We have to walk it through. Walk it through misery? Yeah, misery like company. I get it. Maybe that's why you guys stay in unfulfilled marriages the longest. I'm like, look, I'm not saying you should give up. When a marriage goes south, and you should always attempt to work it out. If don't allow this marriage to go all the way south before you start to implement changes that may save your marriage. Because oftentimes what people don't realize is like, by the time you implement those changes, your marriage is doomed, your marriage is gone to a point of no return. One partner within that union has stepped out of that marriage long time ago. They are just waiting for the right opportunity to leave, and some may never leave. That's how come you see a lot of sexless marriages that have died. But these two people, they are pretty much roommates, living in different rooms within the same roof. And outsiders may look at them and say, oh my God, they have the perfect marriage. Perfection doesn't exist. And do not be envious of couples, especially those couples that like to flaunt their marriage or their relationship online. You cannot trust them. Nothing on this planet is is perfect, but the worst thing that people can do is to try to sell you the idea of a perfect relationship, perfect marriage. There has to be something wrong somewhere. It is a compensatory mechanism. Whenever I see people overcompensating, trying to prove a point of their love, I can see trouble coming from a miles away. It is the biggest red flag about couples, because I'm like, people who are happily married, they don't have to convince outsiders. The only thing they have to do is to make sure that they are in love with each other. They are not in it to convince the next person. Is to make sure that their partner cares about them and they care about their partner, and they will constantly put that energy into working towards their marriage. If it is about going on late night date, traveling, getting massage together, doing activities to enhance and enrich their relationship, that's what they will put their energy on. But they will not spend their whole time trying to convince outsiders of a perfect marriage. There isn't a perfect marriage. There isn't a perfect relationship out there. Everybody's relationship have their issues, but I find issues at people wanting to stay married for the wrong reason. People wanting to stay married just because they want to keep a face. So, are you content with the idea of marriage, but you don't like your partner and yet you don't want to leave? If you are, I'm here to say you're going to have a miserable life. And I have to tell you, no matter how much you try to save this marriage, if it has reached at that point, it is a point of no return. You're going to be a miserable roommate, whereby we hear horror stories of people being in a 30-year marriage whereby the last 10 years was sexless. There's no need for you to sacrifice this much. I don't see the need. Like, I'd rather people die single, man or woman, than to stuck in a marriage like that. It is not worth it. Life is too precious, and do not compromise or do not sacrifice your precious life for nonsense like, oh, I was there because of the kid. Don't do it. Like, that idea, that is like my pet peeve, when people said they stayed within the marriage because of their children. And nah. If the person in that marriage is unsatisfied, for some reason that energy have to go somewhere. That energy have to go somewhere towards those kids. Like, if you're unsatisfied, your children are going to feel your energy. They're going to feel the fact that, there's something missing. There's something missing. You are not your happy self. Something has changed about you, and it's not in the good way. So I would say, instead of putting the kid through this type of trauma, it's better for you to live and be your happy self and advocate for your children. So a union, and unhappy couples do not make happy kids. Just because you guys are together, your toxicity can be transferred to the kid. So do not ever say to me that you stay in the marriage because of the kid. You stay in your marriage for your selfish reason, because you were impressed or in love with the idea of marriage. but not with the person you are with. Look, I want to say that it is normal. It is normal to fall out of love. I want to normalize that because that's something people don't see coming. And sometimes it's out of your control. People grow apart and people drift apart. And society is not ready to accept that. And I'm here to say that it is normal. There's nothing wrong with that. It is normal to drift apart. It is normal to grow apart. People change. Your partner may have changed. You may have changed. So I'm here to say it is normal to get a divorce. Divorce is not always, I know there is a negative connotation attached to divorce. When you hear divorce, you hear trauma, you hear chaos. But I would say divorce is not always trauma-based. Do you understand? Divorce shouldn't always happen because, people are chaotic in that household. Divorce should happen with an informed decision to better your lives and the lives of others. I think divorce should happen like that. That is just my take. Divorce shouldn't take place just because you shouldn't wait until it gets worse to a point where you guys are screaming at each other like animals before you ask for divorce. If you see and you smell it coming, you need to go for it. Don't wait until they get worse. And also, every divorce is not a bad divorce, by the way. As much as divorces are associated with bad connotation. Do you understand me? Every divorce doesn't imply, bad relationship. When people drift apart and fall out of love with each other, people outgrow each other. It is normal. You cannot remain the same person for 10 years after 10 years from now. There has to be something about you that has changed. I don't think you can remain the same person like for 10 years or 20 years. So when people fall out of love, the partners need to be able to understand that this is a normal occurrence. This is something that can happen. Okay? Though maybe one of the partners will be blindsided and thinking that all was well, while the other partner is unsatisfied. Do not keep an unsatisfied man or woman by your side. When relationship goes south, let it go. Forget about it. It didn't work, so what? Who cares? It didn't work, so what? That is your case. Okay, your friends are married for the past 40 years. I have to ask you, did you ask your friend if they were happy? Or your parents were married for 60 years. Are your parents happy with each other? Are they in love with each other? It's impossible. My idea says no. Because I am open-minded, I'm like, no, it's impossible to stay together that long and still claim you were in love. That doesn't happen. There has to be something beyond love. But are they happy though? That's my question. Those friends of yours that claim they have the perfect marriage or that you are basing your judgment, on, are they happily married? What is that they're not telling you? It's impossible to know every problem that a married couple face, by the way. You cannot know their problem. Your best friend may not tell you her whole problem with her partner because she may be in fear of you judging them. So never make your decision based off the perfect couple that you know in your life, because nothing under the sun is perfect. Do you understand? You need to always advocate for yourself, advocate for your interests. Okay, put yourself first. What is there that you're looking for? What is missing in your life? What is going to give you fulfillment? Are you going to gain fulfillment outside of your marriage? Is that what you're seeking, but you feel imprisoned because you feel as if you leave, your children will judge you. If you leave, society will judge you. If you leave, your in-laws, your parents. But at the end of the day, you need to advocate for yourself. I'm here to say you have to be selfish. If it's no longer working, you need to step, just leave. Do not stay there to find out. Do not stay there to attempt to make it work. If it has reached a point where it is unbearable and you have done your whole best to make this thing work, I would say let it go. Because you are not going to make it work. Just let it go, forget about it, live your life. Okay? Live your life. It is a failure, that you have to live with. So what? Move on. As long as you are alive, I believe that there's always hope. Do not be those people that are in love with the idea of marriage and are fed up with their partner and do not want to get out of it. That is the biggest prison within itself. You never be happy. That's how come people in this type of arrangement, people in this type of mess, what happens oftentimes? Do you want me to tell you? Yeah, They end up being addicted to a lot of substances because that is their only coping mechanism. When someone is left with not knowing how to cope in their issues, like the marital issues, like they've tried counseling, they've tried everything, and nothing's working, and they're afraid to leave, they're going to turn into substances that they have no business touching. Okay, because they don't know how to cope. They're in a sexless marriage for 10 years, for 5 years, for 8 years, for 3 years, and they don't know how to cope with it. Cheating cannot be always fulfilling, by the way. I know someone will say, well, if you're in a sexless marriage, why don't you just go and cheat? And I'm here to say that cheating is not always fulfilling as you think. You may think that, if you cheat, you'll be fulfilled. No, you want to be with that partner of yours, your wife or your husband. You are seeking their love, but they are unable to be the person that you want them to be for you. So even if you cheat, it won't be as fulfilling as if you were with them. That is a part people don't get. People always judge others. It's easy to pass judgment unless you are in that crazy scenario. If you are in that crazy scenario, you won't be likely to pass a judgment because we won't know how you are going to react if you were placed in the same scenario. But from a third person perspective, you can pass judgment easily and say, if it was me, okay, I would have done this, I would have done that. Wait until that happens to you. I hope it never happens to you because you other people may judge you. It's not an easy decision that people make when they come to, leaving a relationship, especially the long-term one. The long-term relationship are the hardest to leave because people are satisfied with the idea of being with someone for the long term, even if they have to sacrifice their happiness. I don't encourage that. I don't care if you've been with, this person for 20 years. If it has reached a point where you have no benefit in this, you don't feel satisfied, you don't feel any type of reward, you feel trapped, you need to leave. I don't care if you've been with them for 80 years. That's how come I am in favor of great divorces. Great divorces whereby people divorces after 10 years of marriage or 20 years or 80 or 40 years or 60 years of marriage. Even though they don't have much left, the fact that they have made this decision and say, you know what, I am going to live no matter what. Even if I have 1 year to live, I think I am better off living that 1 year alone than to live with this partner. I encourage that because at least they are honest within their decision. They are not sticking something out that isn't working. What will make someone throw away a 20-year marriage or a 40-year marriage or a 50 or a 15-year marriage? I don't think that is a likely decision they made. So therefore, that's something people fail to understand. And all they do is to pass judgment. They're sitting in their kitchen passing judgment. Why would you leave a man after 50 years, after 10 years, after 30 years? Why? What is left? I'm like, but you are not them. That decision was made because that is the best decision for them. Who do you think you are? Who are you to pass judgment? So what? They left that marriage and then they left that marriage. What is there for you to give? Nothing. You can say a word and keep your opinion to yourself. Yeah. It's to go there and judge people. Oh, great divorces. Why did she divorce after 70 years of marriage? So what? It's not working. It's not working. Why would they compromise and sacrifice like that? The kids are out of the house, especially for those that stay in marriages because of kids. Great divorces happen because one of the partner had been contemplating leaving for the longest time, and now that the kids are out of the house, they're all grown, they're independent, they feel as if they can exercise their right and leave their partner. The least you can do is to encourage them and wish them luck. Like, please, I wish you luck. I wish you the best. I want you to live your best life. Life is not easy. This was a great decision. I'm sure this decision didn't come lightly. Why be in love with the idea of marriage while you don't like the partner you're married to? Again, uncommon theories, uncommon answer. My name is Rose, and I shall always remain the Rose that you know. Thank you.